Good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Robert. I'm one of the counselors here. I go by Bobby. It's easier. It's a little bit more informal. Um, what,
Bobby, I'm James. Call me
James?
James. Yes.
Is it still really gloomy coming in here today? It's pretty bad weather out
Yeah,
there.
the rain started coming down pretty much right when I was on my way over, but traffic was all right, and I found the location all right.
That's
So
good. That's good. Is there any questions or anything you had for me before we get started?
uh, no, let's go.
All right. Just to let you know, this is an initial visit. It's the first assessment we do of you, so it's only going to be about 30 minutes, just so we can get an idea of what's going on.
Okay.
Um, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also going to be taking notes just so that I don't forget things. I hope you don't mind. I'll have a notebook out just so that I can stay on top of that as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, we have here, this is our patient's rights and responsibilities. These are some of the rights and things that you're entitled to. Along with that, it's important to let you know about our confidentiality. Anything we discuss here is between you and me. Um, Nothing leaves the room with a few quid pro quos, a few exceptions, and that is if you talk of any self-injurious or self-harming behavior, any suicidal or homicidal ideations, I have to report that to the state, as well as if there's any suspicion or belief that there's child neglect or abuse going on. As a mandated reporter, I also have to report that as well. Anything outside of that stays in the room here.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
All right. Um, with that out of the way, what brings you in today?
Well, my son was supposed to join me today, but I couldn't really get him to agree to come into this, and I guess that's one of the issues. But um, we've been having I've been having to show up at his school multiple times in the last few months. He's been acting out in class. I've received calls from his teachers. He's just not turning in his assignments when he's he's at home, and he's telling me he's doing this stuff, kind of just closing himself off in his room. He said, "I'm doing my homework," and he's always done it in the past. He's a really smart kid. He's never had any learning problems or anything. And it's really just been the last few months. His behavior's just changed. He said acting out in class and not doing homework. He's even skipped school a few times.
What's your son's name?
That'd be Brian.
And you said there was no issues in the past with his academics or anything.
No, no, he's always been an A and B student. Um,
When do you think these behaviors began?
let's say about 3 months ago.
Was there anything going on at the time?
Well, we've I'm a single dad. I'm raising him full time. Um, the mom isn't in the picture at all, but that's been I don't know. That's been years
So that's not a
in the
recent
making.
occurrence.
Yeah. I guess the only new addition would be I've started to bring another woman that I've been seeing. Like my son's seen her in the apartment and have introduced them, but I don't know. We haven't really discussed if there's any kind of like serious relationship or going on. We haven't talked about that at all. And he never said anything. Like he never said that he had a problem with it. They seem to get along when they are in the same room together.
But there's been these behavioral issues and concerns in the truancy and
Yeah, that would. I mean, that's the only thing that I
not
can
turning
really
in his
think of.
assignments.
I haven't. I'm not really that connected with who he hangs out with in school, but I know that when he has been truant, like I haven't heard the names of the kids that he's gotten in trouble with before. So I think he might be hanging out with a different crowd at this time. He's just a sophomore in high school, so
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the problems right now with his behaviors and with your arguments and what's going on?
I would rate it as a 10 just because it was
10?
such a drastic change from the way things had been.
Is there any time when things are good between the two of you where there isn't arguing? What's going on in those times?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like we have our arguments, but I would say the majority of the time, like we would. He's always been interested in sports. We've always thrown the baseball around together. He isn't involved in any at school, but just together we would spend time either going to ball games. Um, we love watching science fiction movies and shows together. So usually when there's, I guess, something that's distracting the both of us, when we enjoy doing it, the things are pretty calm. I've tried approaching him about what's going on in the classes with his grades and what's happening, and he just pretty much shuts down, and it turns into me more yelling than anything else, and there's really no communication between the two of us. Yeah.
So I'm getting what I'm getting there's some pretty poor communication between the two of you right now, and you're not knowing where he's at, and he doesn't know where you guys are at, and things just kind of blow up.
Yeah, it's like we can't talk at any time. Anytime I try to approach a subject, I get heated because he just kind of blows it off and is like, just tells me whatever. There's nothing to worry about, and that just makes me even more angry with what's going on, because this is like, I mean, this is an important time for him to get his good grades in high school. Like, he's got to go to college, and you know, we've always talked about him going to college, and he knows how important grades are to keep his academics up for that. Um,
Do you see still talk and have plans of college? Is it still in his?
we honestly haven't talked about it. Uh, it's been, I mean, it probably hasn't come up since he first decided on which high school he was going to, and made sure like that he was getting into a college preparatory high school. I mean, that's the track that we'd always agreed that he was going on. Uh, he hasn't mentioned any change, that's not something he wants to do anymore. And he said there's just, we aren't talking now. Just seems we can still go out and we do the things and we spend our time together, and it's okay. But anytime I try and push the issue on behavior, it just explodes. I've tried taking things away. Um, threatening, he's coming on the age when he could come up to drive, and I've threatened not allowing to take driver's ed courses,
How does he?
taking away his cell phone, and like, yeah.
How does he respond to those when you threaten to take his phone away or not give him car privileges?
Oh, it's horrible.
Just blows up.
Yeah, he yells back. Usually ends up storming off. There's not much. There's not really a confrontation at that point. It's small yelling, and then goes to his room, slams his door, and that's pretty much how it ends. And then we sit apart for the rest of the night.
So that hasn't been working.
No, no. I mean, yeah, I take the stuff away, and it's getting to a point after the last few months where there's nothing else I can really take away from him. Um,
So what I'm hearing is you're having a good relationship as long as you guys can go out, you can have social time together, and things are fine. It's just as when you start bringing up the academics or school or his behaviors at the school, communication breaks down, things fall apart, and that's where the most hostility and situation is.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You spoke of, you said you had plans for him to go to college and how important it is for the academics, and you're starting this new relationship and these things going on. If you were to describe your perfect world, if things were perfect and going exactly how you wanted them to go, what would that world look like?
Oh, wow. I mean, he would continue on, graduate high school. He'd get in. I know we're big Badger fans, and he's planning on going to UW Madison. Um, as a child, when he was younger, he always talked about being a doctor, and never really discussed any specifics about what medical field he was going in. But like he was talking about going into advanced degrees. It wasn't just I'm going to college to go to college. Like he had aspirations for things, and I definitely encouraged that. Um, it wasn't the route that I took, and I think it's a better choice for a life that he could have.
How do you think your response would be if he announced that he wanted to go to, say, Stevens Point and he wanted to be a nurse or a school teacher?
I mean, I think I would be okay. I can't say that I wouldn't be a little disappointed because I think that he has more potential than that. But I get like if he set his mind to it, I'd be happy knowing that he was going to school and had a plan at this point that he's looking to stick out.
Have you been able to speak to his teachers or any of the faculty about his not turning in his assignments? Has there been communication between you and his teacher? Like,
Yeah, when I've gone in person, it's mostly been because of behavioral issues acting out in class. There hasn't been any fist fights or anything. It's always been kind of making smart ass comments to the instructors, um, and then yeah, not turning in any of the homework. And it's I know it's not because like that he can't do it, um, and so it really just seems like it's an attitude problem. And when he's just giving up like that, it really bothers me. The teachers have mentioned just almost a complete 360 in his I guess just his personality in class. He used to be engaging and just friendly, and now there's really nothing. The only thing that he's doing in class is causing a disturbance, which is getting him kicked out, and that's on the days that he isn't skipping school. And
how is his behaviors otherwise at home? Is he doing his chores? Is he pleasant with the rest of the family? I mean, with you?
I mean, it's just the two of us. Um, it really doesn't have too many responsibilities. Like he always kept his room pretty straight. That hasn't been a problem. He's not one of the dirty kids. He's not that smelly kid in class. um, and I have like he hasn't slacked off anything. Like anything around the house, he's still been doing that. Um, it's really just the school and the arguments and this and yeah, I'm not really sure what
I, I,
else.
I can understand the levels of stress and aggravation, especially being a single parent and things are going so great, and then all of a sudden there's this complete turnaround. I can, I can understand your frustration with
Yeah,
that.
I feel a little lost. Like everything had been going pretty smoothly, considered like just considering how busy I am. I'm not always there for him, but I try to make myself available as much as I can. And he's never mentioned a problem like about that with the time. Like I said, when we are together and we're doing things, like we have a good time and we get along. And but yeah, anytime like even coming here, like I said, I couldn't even drag him in here. Well, I was trying to drag him in because he didn't want to come at all. But yeah, so he wouldn't show up to this.
hopefully maybe things will defuse a little bit and we can get him to participate in future sessions. We don't want to force him to, but hopefully maybe he'll make that choice so that we can actually work on some things together. Um, Going over hearing all the problems and the situations that you're having with your son with his truancy and the grades not coming in and the attitude with the teachers and these behavioral concerns. Um, you said that you've tried taking things away and that has had some negative results, isn't exactly working out to
Yeah,
the best or exactly how you thought it would.
yeah,
Have you ever thought of maybe implementing some type of reward system where if you don't get a call from the school about late assignments for a week, he can get a new video game. Or maybe you said he's starting to drive, might be driving soon, and you threatened to not let him. Maybe tell him, hey, if you get to school on time all week and you make it to all your classes, I'll take you out and we can do some practice driving. I'll take you around, let you get familiar, learn how to drive a little bit. Do you think there's maybe some ways you could work out like a reward system with that?
it sounds a little backwards from the way I was raised, but um, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm willing to pretty much try anything that would help. Um,
It's kind of like that old saying, if the stick isn't working, try the carrot. You ever heard
okay,
that? So
yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
like we've been trying these and they're not working. And what was it, Einstein, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and hoping for different results. So if we're
okay.
if taking these things away hasn't been working and that's not changing the behaviors, maybe we can try a different route. Maybe that's something we could try to work on and maybe implement and see if we would get more positive results and effects from him that way.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I wasn't raised that way. I might need some ideas on where I could actually, you know, realistically implement those. Because yeah, a lot of it is kind of just attitude about not wanting to do anything. I guess the only concern that I would have with offering something is that he would just say that he doesn't care. But I did like, yeah, I got to try something different. So
Well, maybe we can try to make it something he does care about. If they're, an upcoming concert or something that he wants to do with his friends or something, you can, I mean, if he needs extra money or if he needs something to make something go by, just try to focus it on what he wants, what he wants to accomplish,
yeah,
because he'll be more lenient and more willing to work with you that way. It's just a possibility.
okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm sure there's something coming up that he would like to do.
another little tool I could recommend for you is there's this little rule I go by with I call it the 80-20 rule. And when I understand you're upset and you want to know what's going on, why is he not doing these things, and you're getting upset and you're getting aggravated. But try to remember that you can't have any control over other people. Even though he's your son, he still has free will.
He's
He
the
can.
one person I should be able to control.
Parents say that, but he's his own person. He's going to have free will.
Yeah,
You can only control yourself. You can only control how you respond and how you react to things and situations. And the more you try to focus and control that 80% outside of your own world, the more stress it's going to create for you. And you're
yeah,
not going to be able to resolve things with your son because you're just constantly trying to manage everything outside of yourself. You're not even really taking care of yourself. Do you know what I mean?
oh, I've definitely noticed that because, like I mentioned before, as soon as I try something to alter or address his behavior, it drives me crazy, and I start getting like, it's when I start yelling. Like it makes me angry just without getting any kind of response from him, and not listening. I guess that's one of the big points is like he used to, I guess, it was a matter of him looking up to me, and he used to do everything that I said. And there's that change. There's kind of a loss there, and that's really frustrating to me.
Well, he's getting older. His identity's changing. He's trying to find himself too. You also have to take that into consideration. He's trying to find himself. Plus, with that new relationship, he may not have verbalized any concerns or issues with that, but it might be associated. There might be some some fears that maybe his role is being diminished or replaced. Um, Especially if his academics are always good in the beginning, this might just be his way of now seeking attention. You know, you'll have the one kid who gets the really good grades and is like, you know, oh, mommy, daddy, look at how great I did. And then the other one will be like, well, I broke that vase, you know, where's my attention? So
Yeah.
it might just be a reverse effect, you know, trying to seek out what he thinks he might not be getting. When it gets, if a situation or it's an argument gets heated and it isn't going well, try to ask yourself what the end result is, what the outcome you want is. Because if it's just becoming heated, your best option at that point is just to walk away to defuse the situation. If no productive conversation is being made, there's no point in getting upset or getting mad or arguing it further, because that's not going to help the relationship or your communication.
Okay.
That might be the best time just to walk away, you know, go for a breather, go for a walk, do something to distract yourself, refocus, redirect for like 15 minutes, and then when calmer heads, maybe you can try again. You know, not boiling up and ignoring it so that the next time you discuss something, it blows up in an argument
Yeah,
again.
right away when it starts, we're right at each other. Yeah, it's just seems like one long continuous argument that is not going anywhere.
So your son had good grades. He's been having the truancy. We've been having behavioral issues, not turning assignments, disruptive and disrespectful to the teachers, but nothing physical, all just verbal.
Yes.
And then that problem's been kind of overflowing into the home life with around the time with the new relationship going on and all those other things. Um, I suggest you try my little 80-20 tool. Try to walking away, defusing this, and try to implement that type of reward system.
Okay.
And then hopefully, if communication gets better, maybe we can get you to come back. We can get your son to sit down and maybe work on those things together and hash that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to see how it goes. Take a look at it this week and see what happens. I know I definitely need to change the way that I'm addressing it, because I feel like I'm the one doing most of the yelling and there isn't any talking going on. So I definitely need to change that.
Everyone's talking, nobody's listening. There's a metaphor I use for that is when you're just trying to be heard without listening. It's almost as if you're throwing snowballs back and forth at each other. And when you're throwing snowballs at each other, what are you doing? You're not really listening. You're just throwing out what you want to throw out and then ducking back behind your cover, and you're not listening to what the other person says. You're just waiting for a break for them to stop, and then you just start launching yours back over again.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what you want to avoid. You don't want to have that type of communication, especially with your son. That's something you want to steer clear of. You want to be able to have some type of open communication where you're hearing each other.
Okay.
So try to avoid the argument of things. Maybe talk to him and ask him why he believes what's going on with his grades, with his truancy. See if you give him an amnesty, that open hour to what's going on, like have a heart to heart, or maybe engage in some activities the two of you enjoy where you don't fight or don't argue.
Yeah.
Try that. Try the reward system and try to implement those things. And I think that would probably be your best bet, your best chances.
Yeah, because kind of like when you mentioned when we are having those good times, that I find is one of the areas that I've actually been staying away from maybe bringing anything up, just because I didn't want to ruin those situations. But maybe that would be a time when we're both a little more calm and could have a discussion. I might changing that timing might do something.
And try to focus on those positive things you have in your relationship, like when the two of you are out at a game, or you're just not talking about school and what's going on. The good relationship and establishment rapport that the two of you have had. That's try to focus and emphasize on that as well. Don't try to dwell on these problems he's having with school and all these other situations that are occurring.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be comfortable implementing that treatment plan and those goals? Do you think you can work on those things? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's gonna probably the hardest part for me is gonna be, stepping back of the control that I want to have over the situation. But yeah, I mean, he's my son. I'll do anything for him, and yeah, I'll definitely be trying this stuff.
So, so how do you feel about how this went today? How do you feel about the interaction? How do you think?
I think
How do
it's
you feel
pretty
the
good.
session went?
Yeah, I mean, seem like you know what you're talking about and competent with the subject. I don't know if you have children or not, but you definitely gave me some stuff to think about, and yeah, I'm comfortable with talking with you.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad it was an enjoyable session. Do you think you'd be able to come back? Do you think we could set something up for maybe next week?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll just have to, set some stuff aside in the schedule, but we can definitely figure something out.
I have lots of availability, so we can figure something out,
Okay.
and we'll work together. We'll try to meet up next week, and we'll see how some of these tools and how some of these things worked, and if anything's going better, or maybe we can tweak and readdress some things at the time. Maybe try to work on getting your son maybe to come out and visit us next time, so we could try to like get his side and hear what's going on. That'd be important as well.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was definitely a pleasure meeting you,
Yeah. Thank you.
and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing with me and your disclosing with me, and I hope to see you again. We'll meet next week, and I hope things are going a little bit better for you at that time. And maybe when we do our scaling, it'll be a little bit lower down, and you'll have a little bit less stress in your life. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you.